Now, Republican strategist Joseph Pinion and Maura Gillespie, founder of BlueStack Strategies and former press advisor to John Boehner when he was House Speaker. Good to see both of you. All right, so Maura, you first. I mean, a few things here, a lot of things, right, that are happening right now simultaneously. Biden and his supporters, including those Democratic governors outside the White House, trying to salvage his reelection path. And then two Democratic Congress members saying out loud Biden should step aside, plus the contingency plan. If not Biden, then his vice president. So let's focus on the latter. Kamala Harris says, she's proud to be his running mate. How viable is this momentum for Harris now when for much of the past 3 years there was criticism, if not uneasiness, that she was a liability?
It, to me, is really late in the game to be even having this conversation because, quite frankly, there has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. She was the border czar, but really the border is a big weakness for the Biden-Harris administration. So I wonder why they didn't listen to Dean Phillips, when he told them it's time to pass the torch. This shouldn't have been as surprising as it seems to be to the Democrats, and I think that they're very late in the game to be having this conversation. And at this point, Biden is being supported, by his family telling him to run. And at the end of the day, that's not really where things should be coming from. It should be coming from the American people who have largely now expressed they don't want either Trump or Biden in this race. And I think if you're looking at the polls and if you're Team Biden, in order to stand up and preserve your legacy and salvage anything, you should see this as an opportunity to bow out because that's preserving your legacy. That's putting America first. So I would hearken back to that idea of, what does it mean to be a public servant, putting the public interest ahead of your own.
Except, of course, more of the White House and, of course, even President Biden, all are saying, let the voters decide. That's when you will be able to gauge what the American people want, because thus far we've heard from a lot of Democratic elected officials. So, Joseph, to you, Massachusetts Representative Seth Moulton, saying this: I have grave concerns about his ability to defeat Donald Trump. When your current strategy isn't working, it's rarely the right decision to double down. President Biden is not going to get younger, quoting him. Also, reportedly, a draft letter now is floating on Capitol Hill that lawmakers may sign, pressing Biden to step down. So, Joseph, even if Biden is defiant, digging in, his heels, how does he endure or survive this kind of tidal wave?
Well, look, there are a few factors here. Number one, I believe the congressman's own words belie the truth. This is not about doing what is right for the American people. This is about a Democratic Party that has dug themselves a grave and now are looking for an escape hatch. And so, yes, it was quite clear to everyone that Joe Biden had not only lost a step, but lost his footing on the global stage. It was quite clear when we had Robert Hur with a big billboard telling the American people that it was his opinion, the Department of Justice's opinion, that he was not fit to stand trial. He was mocked. Every single person who has spent the last 3 years with grave concerns about the empty stairs, the falling up the stairs, the tumbling down the stairs. We take no pleasure in saying these things. It is just a reality for a man that is our commander in chief. And so I think Republicans are going to do everything humanly possible to keep Joe Biden on the ballot, to tell the American people that Democrats have effectively perpetuated a Aaron Sorkin fever dream on the Republic, a fraud on this Republic, by trying to tell you that this man was fitter than he was. You look in places like Wisconsin, where he has to possibly either not be alive to be off the ballot, places like Georgia, where he has to demonstrate that he is unfit mentally to be off the ballot. So these are all going to be very intricate steps that Democrats are going to have to go through, and Republicans are going to push back firmly on all of those.
So perhaps more, this is a little window into Biden's strategy. He was on a Philadelphia radio station on The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders. She's going to be on CNN later on this morning. Biden is trying to put more attention on his opponent, Trump. Listen to what he said.
Like he talks about black jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He just talks down to people. Mm-hmm. He has no respect. The shameful comment. It's not surprising. This is a guy, as I said, questioning George Floyd's humanity, led the birther movement against President Obama, accused the Central Park Five. They should be in jail.
So, Maura, Biden is underscoring Trump is no advocate of black voters. Do you expect Biden will try to do this more to perhaps upstage the criticism that he's facing?
It's a smart tactic to go after and point out all of the things that Trump has said and done. I think the debate showed us that really, like, the biggest issue here is trust. I don't think you can trust things that Donald Trump has said. I don't think you can trust that he is going to advocate for the interests of the American people. I think he's advocating for himself and putting himself in a position to keep himself out of jail. On the flip side, I don't think you can trust that Joe Biden is equipped to handle this job. He's already been failing to do so. And we saw on the debate stage, he really wasn't all there. And so trust now is completely eroded for the American people because this was blatant. As to Joe's point, this was obvious. This was coming, a long time coming. He went into office at an older age. They're both going to be octogenarians should they be in the White House for the next 4 years, either whoever it is. And so this is where, yes, the Democratic Party can hit Trump for a lot of things, but the Republican Party has just as much to go after on the flip side. So again, I've long said I don't see either of these choices being good for the American people moving forward. But for the Democratic Party, if they really believe, and the polls are showing that they are so far behind, there's opportunity here, they should be capitalizing on it by moving past Joe Biden.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much, Maura Gillespie, Joe Pinion. Great to see you both.